Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about how to set timing and how to check timing on engine M272. Again, M272. It's a 6-cylinder Mercedes-Benz engine, and I'm going to show you how you can check the timing, set the timing, and what's the common issue with this engine. The common issue is the balancer shaft and also the cam gear, the crankshaft gear that usually wears off. Okay, now if you look here, you can see that the gears, instead of having having a wide tooth, they're going to have a sharp tooth because they're worn. So this is pretty common again. All these plastics are also starts to break over time. And then if you look at the crankshaft gears, same thing. You can see that these plastics are broken. Okay, they're all broken, missing the tooth. On some parts are wide, and then on some parts are some tooth are really sharp. So that indicates a sign of wear. The balancer shaft is installed inside the engine like so. Okay, in order to get to it, you could remove the front timing cover and then remove the camshaft and then the gears and remove the balancer shaft from the front. In the back, it does have a weight which is look like this. Can I have the tool? The locking tool. Okay, so we're using this. We're using the weight balance for the balancer shaft. On the back, it has a hole which lines up with the hole that's over here. So in order to line this up, the engine should be at 40 degree, okay, from the front, which I'll show you shortly. But for now, we're just going to leave this tool in here because I wanted to demonstrate how this needs to be locked. So that's locked when the crankshaft is at 40 degree. And we align the 40 degree mark from here to the front timing cover. Okay, so 40 degree with this on the timing case cover, and then that balancer shaft can be locked. Once you lock it, you can remove the bolt, remove the the weight, and then remove the balancer shaft from the front. And whenever you're going to time the balancer shaft, same thing. You're gonna put the weight in, you're gonna lock the weight, and then on the front, this is what you're gonna see. On the front of the balancer shaft, you see this notch here and this. And then in order to time it, you also inside the engine, you also have, and don't look at this photo because this photo is wrong. This balancer shaft should move further up like so to align with this. Once it's in lock position, you can't make a mistake of installing the balancer shaft. Okay, it's very simple. Once you lock it, it will be on where it needs to be. Okay, and this notch over here is going to line up with a notch that you see inside the engine, and this part, okay, this part is going to line up with this bolt over here. Okay, and once you install the balancer shaft and replace the gear, you also inspect the guides. The guides are also very common to wear on these, and you have, this is the chain tensioner guide, okay, which is the last guide that goes in whenever you do the timing. That would be the last guide, and in order to insert this or place this in, you would have to remove the camshaft so you can slot the guide in. But let's say this engine is completely apart, and we're going to go ahead and put everything back together. So what you do first, you're going to set the camshaft, the crankshaft to 40 degree and align this with the front timing cover. You remove the pulley, you remove the front timing case cover. You install the balancer shaft, you lock the balancer shaft, and then you make sure that the marks on the balancer shaft lines up with what I just showed you here. On the chain, now it's time to install the chain, right? On the chain, you got 4 orange or dark color mark. This is a used chain, so this mark is slightly darker. On the new chain, you got these in orange. Now, the orientation or the distance between each orange color is the same distance, meaning that if you count the gear between these two, okay, it's going to be same exact tooth. Therefore, it doesn't matter where you install these. On the crankshaft, gear, right? Whenever this crankshaft is at 40 degree, this is how it's going to be. This is what it looks like, okay? Basically, you got this, which is pointing upward, okay? And then 180 degree below. On this one is broken, but you see a similar mark like this, okay? You see a similar mark, which is right now it's broken. That's where it needs to be, okay? You're gonna go in and install the chain, the colored tooth, okay, and align it with the mark, okay? That's what you can do, okay? And then on the balancer shaft, you're going to install it. You're going to put the second one with these 3 notch or this 3 mark. You put the other orange one and align it with these 3 mark, okay? So we got 1, okay, which I showed you where it needs to be. The second one is going to be the 3 marking on the balancer shaft. And then you're going to start by installing the left side or the driver side intake camshaft, okay? Once you install the intake camshaft, you're going to align. You have on the cam gears, on the adjuster unit, you got these dots, 1, 2, 3. There's one that lines up with the side of the crank of the cylinder head, okay? There's one that points upward, and there's one that lines up with this mark here, okay? Now if you rotate the camera there slightly, just so you can see the dot, okay? So the dot, that's going to line up with this. So you're going to start by installing the driver's side intake cam adjuster. You're going to align your chain, which you have an orange mark, right? The orange mark. So we got one orange mark that lines up with the crankshaft. I showed you where. We got the second orange mark that we're going to line up with the 3 mark on the balancer shaft. The balancer shaft is already locked. Then you're going to set the third orange line and then align it with on the intake cam adjuster. You see an L right here, okay, on the side. If you look, it says L. That stands for left, and you're going to align the third orange line with L. So it's not, you know, I've already timed this engine rotated, but wherever you see the L, the orange line is going to align with the L. Once you do that, it automatically aligns this dot and this. So whenever you want to install the cam adjuster, okay, you're gonna align your orange mark with the L, okay, with the L, and automatically you hold this in place, and then you rotate your cam until the line behind the cam, behind the adjuster, lines up with the camshaft, which I'll show you what it's looks like. Okay, so I'll show you over here. So on the back, okay, on the back of the cam adjuster, we have the cam adjusters are gonna, you know, they are marked. So you have this, and you have also this, you know, in the camshaft. So there's no way you could make mistake. We are lining these two up. Whenever we're gonna install, you know, the driver's side, that's where we're gonna start. We're gonna install this. We're gonna line up this notch with this. Okay, so you're gonna align your orange mark with the left where it says L, and then if you hold it in place, then the dots, this dot is gonna line up with the cylinder head. One points up, the other one is pointing this way. Okay, in that condition, you're gonna rotate the camshaft to align the mark that you have here on the back with the dot that you have on the camshaft. Okay, I decided to make this video afterward because I didn't, I couldn't find a good video. Actually, there was only one good video that I found, but I thought to make it the second one. So on the back of the camshaft, you have a dot, and you also have a, you have a line, which you're gonna, once you hold this, you're gonna rotate the camshaft, and then everything just goes in. Once that goes in, you're gonna go ahead and start by installing the right side, or the passenger side intake cam adjuster. In order to do that, same thing. So you got 4 orange marking. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do the same thing, and we're going to align the 4th orange mark from the chain, and we're going to align it with the R up front that says R. Okay, once you align that, your timing is going to be slightly off by 1 tooth. It's going to be off by 1 tooth, but that's okay because your chain have a slack. You can then install the tensioner guide. You install the tensioner guide because you have to remove this. You install the tensioner guide. You're going to put the locking pin. Okay, that's a locking pin. You see a little bit of glue. Whenever you want to install them, you got to put glue on the top, and then you tap them in, and then it's pretty straightforward. And the guide is going to take care of the slack. Your timing is still going to be off, which is okay, right? Because it's loose. The tensioner is going to take care of the slack, and the timing is going to go off. But what you need to pay attention is the orange mark needs to align with R, not on the plate, on the actual adjuster. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you do that, then it's time to install the exhaust adjuster. Whenever you install the exhaust adjuster, you're going to have these 2 lines here, like that. 1, you got another one here, 2, and you got 1 on top. It's a single one. 3. So whenever you want to install the exhaust adjuster, you're going to line up. So right now we've already installed these 2. Okay, we install these 2. We slide in our guide, and now it's time to install the exhaust ones. So on the exhaust, you're going to align these 2 lines with the dot that you had earlier. Okay. So the dot that you see, which you have to rotate the camera, I think from this angle you'll be able to see it. Right there. That dot is going to sit in the middle of the 2 lines. Okay, once you do that, this will automatically be slightly off. Again, it's because the chain tensioner has not been installed yet. Okay, once you install the chain tensioner, everything is going to go back where it needs to be. Don't forget. Okay, but we're not going to install the tensioner yet. So the exhaust adjuster is installed. We're going to go to the other bank and do the same thing. We're going to align the 2 dots here, the 2 lines here. Okay, with the dot that we have there, the 2 lines, the dots in the center, and automatically this is going to line up, right? And then if you pay attention on the exhaust adjuster, you have a little hole here. This hole is there for you to use a similar tool or suitable, tool. It's a 3mm. It's about 3mm round. Use it to lock the gear, because the gear in the front is going to rotate. If you mark the gears, okay, with like any marker before you remove the exhaust adjuster, it helps you to put it back where it needs to be. If you mark him, you can always bring him back where he needs to be. So it's pretty easy, okay? But if you don't mark him and you don't lock these before you remove the exhaust adjusters, then you'll probably be in trouble. But again, you can adjust these, okay? So lock them before you remove them. You're going to install you're going to align the 2 lines with the dot, and then the 2 lines here. And whenever you snap this in, you can remove the pin, okay? So this is going to line up perfectly on the driver's side bank. On the passenger side bank, it's not going to line up just yet. Remember, you use the orange mark, okay? Orange, 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 orange with the R, okay? You're going to be off by 1 tooth. Then, once you install everything, you're going to close the cylinder head cover. And once you install the cylinder head cover, only then you can go in and torque the timing chain tensioner and torque it to 70 Newton meter. Once you torque this to 70 Newton meter, someone is going to hold the exhaust cam from the back on bank 2, driver's side bank. You're going to use your colleague assistants to hold this exhaust cam, and then you're going to rotate the engine counterclockwise by a few degrees counterclockwise. So you're holding the exhaust cam from this position, and then the other person is going to counterclockwise rotating the engine crankshaft, and then that releases the timing chain. Once it releases the timing chain, you're going to rotate the engine 2 times, okay, 2 complete revolution, and you're going to double check your marking, bringing this at 40 degrees. So you bring this at 40 again, and once you do that with the timing chain released, all your marking then should evenly sit here by the cylinder head. These dot with the line, the dot on this side, the lines with this cylinder head, the dot with the 2 line, and then the 2 line. Okay? Once you rotate the engine 2 times and you double check your marking and everything is good, then you're going to rotate the engine to 305 degrees. Now if you pay attention here, I'll show you where 305 degrees is. I have to remove the pin for the balancer shaft. Alright, 305 degrees. So it's 290, 300 is next. Let's see. Past it. So we bring it to, that's 300, 305, 310. Once you align the crankshaft, the 305 marking with the front timing case cover, you can install the this is for back 1. You can install the front upper timing cover. So it's 305. After that, take it 1. Degree. Okay. I rotate it once more to 305, and then why do I have an extra pin here? I have an extra pin. I have to remove this really quick. Okay. There you go. So when you install the front, upper timing cover, you see these marks on the plate. They need to be centered with the hole. Okay. So in the center, in center. Okay. And then same thing with the other bank. Once you install this, okay, and you look at the timing plate mark, it should be in center. This also should be in center. When the crankshaft is at 305 degree. Okay, and that's how you can double check. Now if you don't have, okay, let's say you want to replace the chain and you're drawing the chain in cases like that, again, you're going to bring the engine to to 40 degrees, you lock the balancer shaft in the back, you connect your chain, do whatever, run the new chain in. But if you were to time this engine without the mark, then what you need to do is you can always install everything and adjust everything at 305 degree, as long as you can align these marks. But again, with the because everything has to line up, so that's one way. The other way is to bring this at 40 degree, lock the balancer shaft, and then align your your marks here. And remember, this is going to be off before installing the tensioner. Okay, that's the key. Whenever you install the tensioner is when it's going to come to its timing position. That's the only thing I don't see anyone explains, and that's a huge question for one of my technicians that couldn't time the engine. And then that's how we're going to time the engine. So I hope you find the time. Okay, I'm going to explain I'll tell you the torque. The torque for the bolts for the adjusters, 145 Newton meter. Timing chain tensioner is 70 Newton meter. These are 20 to 25 Newton meter. These bolts for the cylinder head are 20 Newton meter. The bolts for the cylinder head cover are 12 Newton meter and 90 degree. And then the cylinder head bolts, in case if you just want to remove them, the time torques for those are 20, 50, 90 degree, 90 degree, 20 Newton meter, 50 Newton meter, 90 degree, 90 degree. That's for the cylinder head. And I already told you the timing covers and everything. Okay, I hope you find this video helpful. Please like and subscribe, and see you all in the next video.